let's talk about Garnacho, because there have been developments, haven't there?
There have been developments. One thing we've known all summer is that Chelsea like the player, but Manchester United want £50 million to sell Alejandro Garnacho this summer. It's not as if they don't think he's a good player. It's just, it looks like he needs to move on in terms of maybe the relationship he's got with Ruben Amorim. He was very unhappy with his Europa League final snub. He's made that very public. But the key from Chelsea's point of view, they think they can sign Garnacho for less than Manchester United's asking price. But there hasn't been a bid yet. And going back to Manchester United's side, he's got 3 years remaining on his contract at United. You feel that this probably will get done, but for what price, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Manchester United valuing him at £50 million because they'll look at other players that have gone for that amount as well, the likes of Anthony Elanga from Nottingham Forest and Newcastle, Noni Madueke, who actually left Chelsea for Arsenal. But I mentioned a couple of those other players. Jadon Sancho and Anthony are two of the big ones that potentially could bring in money for Manchester United. Borussia Dortmund, we're told, remain in talks with Sancho's representatives over a deal, while dialogue remains open with United. No agreement on either at the moment, though it is thought he could be available for significantly less than the £25 million obligation price that Chelsea had when they signed him on loan last season. As for Anthony, there is plenty of interest in Anthony, but he's got one destination in his mind. It is Real Betis. He had such a fantastic loan spell with them last season. So as much as United will be positive about Benjamin Sesko coming in, they still do need to make these sales before the end of the transfer window. That said, you mentioned close to £200 million being spent in this transfer window if and when Sesko's deal is confirmed. But are they stopping there?
Well, I don't think they will. I mean, I think the key for Manchester United is getting those players out, the ones you've mentioned. I think Marcus Rashford to Barcelona is a great move for him. It's wages as well. It's not just necessarily transfer fee, it's big wages they're on. What else do Manchester United do? When I look at Manchester United, I think, brilliant. That new forward line, great. But then I look at the midfield. Needs a bit of a revamp. And obviously there's talk of interest in Carlos Belver in the midfield from Brighton. We know, as you've mentioned, interest in Donnarumma from PSG. We'll wait and see if that happens. I think that would be an upgrade on Onana. I'm sure that would be as well. So they still need to do business, Manchester United. However, you look at so many clubs and you think, are we ready for the start of the Premier League season? You'd say probably 18, 19 will say no. But are you ready for day one? They'll say, let's give it a go.
You say, let's give it a go. You talk about Belieber. I mean, there's one thing being interested in Carlos Belieber, but Brighton are fantastic sellers and they do not want to sell. They insist he's not for sale. He's still got 3 years left on his contract. He's got the option of a further year. Brighton are under no pressure at all to sell Carlos Belieber. But it is clear that Manchester United are not done in this transfer window. We'll be talking about United a little bit later on in the show, I'm sure. But another big story that is emerging this evening is concerning Chelsea. We've been speaking about Chelsea's pursuit of Alejandro Garnacho. They are looking to make a number of sales in this transfer window as well. Now, the man behind us here, Nicholas Jackson, lots of talk about Nicholas Jackson in this transfer window. He has now told Chelsea that he wants to explore his options outside of Chelsea. So he wants to look at other clubs and whether there is interest in him, of which there is a lot. Chelsea are playing Bayer Leverkusen as we speak in a pre-season friendly. It kicked off at 7 o'clock. The team news was interesting, and it is clear that Nicholas Jackson is not part of the plans either from the Chelsea end, because Nicholas Jackson, Christopher Nkunku, both not in the matchday squad. They are two of a number of players that Chelsea are looking to consider offers for, and they have had a lot of inquiries, unsurprisingly, for Nicholas Jackson. Bayern Munich, Juventus, AC Milan have all explored the conditions of
Chelsea
the deal.
have moved one step closer to landing Alejandro Garnacho. The Blues are understood to have agreed terms with the Manchester United winger, though they have yet to find common ground with United on a transfer fee. Garnacho is out of favour at Old Trafford, with Ruben Amorim adding Matheus Cunha and Brian Buemo to his attacking options after falling out with his number 17. The Argentine was left at home while the Red Devils went to the United States for pre-season, with the expectation being that he will leave before deadline day. Garnacho is desperate to move to Stamford Bridge, having made Chelsea his first choice this summer, and the 21-year-old has agreed personal terms. However, it will of course count for nothing without an agreement on the fee. United's asking price of £50 million appears to be too steep for the Blues at the time of writing. There had been suggestions the Red Devils might pursue a part-exchange deal involving Garnacho and Nicholas Jackson, but their move for Benjamin Sesko appears to have put an end to those conversations. The asking price is lower than in January, when Chelsea and Napoli were both keen on Garnacho. Since then, though, the winger's stock has fallen as it has become clear Amorim doesn't see him as a regular starter. I think with Garnacho, you can understand and you can see that Hez a really talented boy, Amorim said earlier in the summer. But sometimes things don't work out and you cannot explain specifically what it is. But I have the feeling, and I think it's clear, that Garnacho wants a different thing with a different leadership, and I can understand that. So I don't think it's a problem. Sometimes you adapt to one guy and you have the connection. Other times you want a new challenge.